good transition to the Korean drinking culture.
Yeah. The next topic for today is Korean drinking culture. So we'll just go down the line. Why don't we start with Lewis? Why don't you just give us a quick 2 minutes on what is your take on UK drinking culture,
All right.
and then kind of what is
Difference.
what is Korean drinking culture to you in your context?
So like, as many of you might know, like in the UK, we're pretty bad for binge drinking. You know, come the weekend, maybe from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, like when people go out, they go out to get blackout drunk. I mean, there's no like, you know, little bit in the middle. If you go to the pubs and stuff, people just drink until you're pretty wasted. So like, when I was younger, before coming to Korea, I mean, you know, obviously I was younger as well, but yeah, you used to drink a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But comparing that to Korea like to do that every day. So, you know, there's no weekend. I mean, if anything, Koreans will do it during the week more than the weekend. Weekend will be like, as long as you're not young, they'll like rest with families and stuff. Whereas, you know, Monday to Thursday, you know, like office workers and stuff will, you know, go for work dinners and things like that, and they'll drink pretty much till blackout, sick, lying on the floor. I don't know, being sick on themselves, and like, cause I go home like late on weeknights. You know, we close at 11. So now some of these sites Valentin's gonna pull up. Like, it's a regular thing. Like, you really do see people like that all the time, or lying on the road. I don't know why Koreans like to lie on the road or sit on the road. Like, there's cars going by and no one's helping them. So
I mean, I've seen at least one of those, like, you know, every year at least, like that serious, like sleeping on the floor.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I like it. Not every week, but every few weeks I see it. Yeah.
So in the interest of countering that blanket generalization, Korean office worker, can you give us maybe some insight on how common would you say it is, like at your company, other companies you've worked at? Is it an everyday thing, weekly thing? How has it changed since you first came to Korea?
Sure. I mean, so the current drinking culture in company is, we have what we call like a weshik, is when worker, they go for a drink together after work, and that's one of the things that everybody tells you when you come to Korea, is that, you know, the weshik culture is really intense, and they force you to drink a lot of you know, beers and soju. But I mean, it really depends in which industry you're working. For like, yeah, which me in tech, we personally in my company, we don't do it very often. And if we do, I mean, it depends. Not everyone would drink. A lot of people say these days, like, I don't drink, and that's
young people,
perfectly fine. You know, like there will always be like one guy, like older guy, would say, "Oh, come on, I'll just pour you one drink. It's gonna be fine." But no, like a lot of like girls don't drink these days. Like younger girls, they don't want to drink. And yeah, for me, I don't have bad experiences with that. I know some of my friends, one of them who is in the chat right now, work in the car industry, which is a little bit older and like older traditions. And I know he's gonna be probably a very different experience. Yeah, we should have him on the show actually, because we won't have those. Yeah, I think none of us has the experience of having really bad weshik at work. Yeah, maybe you did when you were working in the marketing.
Well, no, not really. But like when we did used to go out, it was drink until you're pretty much like dead. But like, so we didn't. The good thing is it wasn't often. So like it would be like only a couple of times a year. So
you're actually happy to go, like, because it's still
hated it because I didn't want to drink with my coworkers. Like I didn't want to, my boss, not my coworkers, my boss. That was the thing.
So for us, like I have actually one picture from my own experience of that's when we were. That's the typical, like, you know, weshik. I blurred my colleagues' faces anyway. Most of them quit the company already. So, but yeah, that's a typical setup. You see like all those green bottles. They're like soju bottles.
What are you eating? What's that in that bowl?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago. Yeah. But like, yeah, we were all sitting on the floor, and I blurred people's faces, but you can see like they lost it already. Like they have 1,000 yards there. Like there's one guy at the back. He's like already like half sleeping. And anyway, so that was when we were working for, you know, with clients, and we're drinking with clients at the end of the project, or towards the end of the project, we usually have some, like, you know, celebrations. And so our manager used to tell us always, like, be careful when you drink with clients, don't be too wasted. But they were the first to actually be like super wasted
Yeah.
and become friend and everything. But it's bad and good. I would say there's definitely some bad out of it. You know, like you might say something that you would regret later.
Yeah.
But also it brings also some good. Sometimes there's a lot of tension towards the end of the project, and people fight, and then there's a lot of misunderstanding. And Weshik is also a good opportunity to settle those arguments, and maybe we misunderstood each other, and we learned to become friend again, and that fixed some of our relationship with our clients, actually, going out for drinking.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I had that one experience when we were working for the Olympics in Pyeongchang like a few years ago. Our clients were really bad to us sometimes, like always criticizing, what we were doing, like, and we had one night out, and the day after we were like best friends, like really
bonding session.
I would say that's not so different than like I worked at a lot of U.S. companies, and we'd have team happy hours.
Yeah.
That always helped you. You felt so much closer to the team after that, and
Yeah.
it's just not maybe as formally structured as the Korean type, but it's a similar thing. And clients too, you have one happy hour with a client, and then the next 6 months of working, it's much more casual, much more enjoyable. Yeah.
Brings down your boundaries a little bit between people, and feel comfortable around each other more.
One weird thing is that very often when you apply for a company in Korea, like your boss would ask you, at the end of the interview as a kind of joke, but not really joke, like how much can you drink? Like how many bottles of soju you drink?
It's always bottles of soju.
And I always answer the same thing, it's like, I don't know. And they're like, whoa, because they think that I drink so much. But I say, no, I literally don't know. I haven't counted. And they think that, you're drinking.
Well, and can drink and like to drink is different. Like I think for me, like to drink, 2 bottles of soju over a night is a nice amount to just hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
But I probably could drink much more than that. I just don't think I'd want to drink much more than that.
I would say, 2 bottles of soju is a...
Stretched out over 5 or 6 hours.
But that's the thing, in Korea they don't stretch.
Yeah.
It's like not binge drinking, but like fast drinking. Like they drink super fast.
And I think in the interest of fairness too, to defend against Lewis's, Koreans binge more. I think that the nature, because I think UK and US drinking culture is very similar in that just binging, drink to blackout. I would say, I think for me it was a big difference in Korean drinking culture is that yes, people drink a lot, but I think the strength of the drinks is weaker. So in America, people will binge drink, vodka or gin. And I think a big difference, I think Valentin will pull up a picture, is the kind of drinking atmosphere isn't shots. It's drinking with food, right? It's going out and having a meal.
What do you want about
Shot. Sometimes.
True. But I think there's almost always a food component of your night out, and that to me was great because it balances out the alcohol. I think the speed drinking, and I think the
definitely helps keep you a little bit.
I think for people that don't know, in Korea, it's really common, right? Is first of all, when we talk about bars in Korea versus restaurants, most places in Korea you see are classified as restaurants because they serve food with the alcohol, and it wouldn't be your typical experience of what is a bar versus a restaurant in deep America. You drink while you're eating, even if it's 2-3 in the morning, you might order some food with it, and I think that helps to balance out. And I would also say that maybe this is again me generalizing in the opposite direction, but when I think of a UK or American person getting blackout drunk, I think of kind of aggressive and kind of that I feel like in Korea, even though you might get the people passed out, office workers, you're not worried when you meet a drunk person in the street that they're going to attack you or a group of drunk friends are going to beat someone. It's just, I think, a more calm
people keep
vibe.
to themselves more. People will be drinking around their own table. They don't really bother each other. In the UK and places, everyone just mixes around and what are you looking at?
Well, you get, in
looking
America,
at my
it's so
woman?
common to see around in drinking neighborhoods, a bus stop with the glass broken or a car. People just get kind of awful in the U.S., especially when they're drunk. They break stuff for no reason. They steal things. They'll just take a stop sign and take it home. Stuff like that. In Korea, you don't. I was just thinking this yesterday.
Never done that before.
No, well, the thing is, I was just thinking in Korea, we were just at the convenience store last night, 11 p.m. On the way home, getting some coffee for this morning because I had to come early, and there were some guys who had been drinking outside, and outside the convenience stores, they have the ice cream freezer.
Yeah.
And they're it's just in America, I would be, if I was convinced, we're watching that all the time because drunk people would just come by and take it. That just would happen. And here, those guys it's always drunk guys, but they get their ice cream, come in, wait quietly in line, pay for it.
Yeah.
And then they don't really, that ice cream cooler stays outside all night. And then I realized oh my God, in America,
couldn't.
That would just be like all the ice cream would be gone within a week. If you just left it outside unlocked in an area where people are drinking, people would just steal the ice cream.
Yeah,
Like it's a bit different vibe, I think, on the street.
Totally.
To me, overall, like the drinking culture is better here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely some downsides
Yeah.
about the Korean working culture, and actually, as Gil mentioned it in the chat before, and that's kind of true also. Like he was saying that whatever you say during those weshik, the day after, like your boss would not hold it against you, because that's kind of something you don't say, but it's kind of what happened in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's good. What's Guillaume been saying to his boss when he's drunk?
Is that where he just lets it fly?
Guillaume, you're definitely coming on the show next time. Letting us know.
anyway, no, but that's kind of true, and also
Yeah.
it's acceptable for a worker to come back the day after being like super hangover and sleeping on the couch, as long as he showed up.
Yeah.
Like as long as he pressed the like the
Yeah, time.
Login button, the time sheet.
the time sheet, then you're good to go.
The first time I did a work dinner with my bosses, it was just the three of us, right? And they were getting me like completely drunk here, because the first time I'd only been working there a month or two, I think, and we got super drunk, and it was like 2 a.m, and I used to work in Incheon, so it was like an hour away. I had to get like an hour taxi, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because when you're drunk, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it on time tomorrow. My boss was like, even though he was drunk, he's like, you got to be there at 9 o'clock. I was like, is he being joking, or is he like being serious? He's just got me absolutely wasted. Like, do I really have to be on time? And yeah, like you said, as long as you're on time, they don't care. Like, you can just sleep on your chair, but you have to be there, otherwise they'll be annoyed.
There was also something that I wanted to mention about the downside, and I don't know what you guys think about this. I don't think we've ever talked about this together, even off camera. Is that here, women drink a lot too. Where in European country, I don't know in America, but I feel like a lot of women, they don't like to drink. They don't want to show that they're drunk. I don't know, what is it?
You need to go to Newcastle.
I think in our countries, women be sloppy.
Yeah, right. I need to go to Switzerland. You got some classy ladies in
Yeah,
there.
the UK and US, no, the women get
You
pretty.
would say like women drink the same amount of alcohol as men back in
I don't know
the
about the
UK?
same amount. They can't in the US, or at least they can't handle it. They get to the same level of drunk for sure in the US, like blackout, puking on themselves, broken heels.
Yeah, man.
Me, I would say, of course, there are a lot of women who drink, but I don't know. I feel like classy. Some women, they like, they don't want to behave like completely drink in front of other people.
I think in the US.
Bunch of alcoholics like in the UK.
Is it only
That's
Switzerland?
interesting about Switzerland.
And,
What I want to
Guillaume from France, tell us.
Yeah.
We're neighbors, so maybe it might be the same thing.
one thing I do want to mention is that, like earlier I said, everyone binge drinks here, but actually over time, like Valentin said, there's a lot of people who don't drink, and it has got a lot better. There's nowhere near as many hueshiks, and it's like when I've spoke to other restaurant owners and stuff in our area, which because it's like a business area, they've said over the last, I don't know, like, because a lot of them have been there for years, they said like it's been a downtrend about the working culture. It's a lot of times people don't even go drinking, they'll go for like a coffee or to get a tea together or something at cafes. It's definitely a lot less pressure than before, but like you said, like Guillaume's company, old company, and these traditional places, it's definitely still there. It's good for a business. When they come to my bar and there's like here with a freaking the company card, I'm like, come in.
That's the best.
They're like, what wine would you recommend? I'm like, not that first page. You guys look on the side.
I have a special page.
And I think that even the word binge almost means something else. For me in the US, binge is like a function of the fact that our bars close at 2 a.m. and the last call's at like 1:30. So binge, and people don't go out till 10. Like my wife had a funny anecdote when she went to school in America for a year, and she was in Texas, and she said it was so funny when she first started going out with her friends in Texas. They'd meet at someone's house right before going out, and then they would like drink there, and then they wouldn't go to the bars till like 10, and she would be like, but don't they close at 1 or 2? And they're like, yeah, it's okay. And it was kind of this like, why are we? It's such a different experience. So binging was like you have to cram all your nights drinking into this little window. Where in Korea, I think people drink a lot when they go out, but just the function of like you might start drinking at dinner, and then you can stay out till 3 or 4 a.m. and it's safe, and there's people on the streets. Like,
but that's the thing; it's safe also, and
safety
to like what I was saying about women's before drinking. Also here in Korea, at least they can be completely wasted, and they'd be okay. They'd be no one would do anything.
Most like that's something I'd like to talk about in future things, because from a guy's perspective, I always think that women are safe, but I have heard loads of stories about like
True.
it's unsafe for women.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get like a woman guest on to be able to put
It'd
this
be
to their
interesting
perspective.
We'll be bringing guests.
Well, it'll
soon
be
to our
interesting
show.
too,
Yeah,
a foreign
you know,
guest and a
everyone.
Korean, because I think
Coming soon.
it's definitely not as safe for Korean girls like our wives as Korean men or us.
Yeah.
But I think also the perception of the level of safety compared for women here versus a foreign country, it's like,
yeah, it's so much
you know, you
better
get
here.
creepy people kind of following people home and stuff.
Yeah.
But the like,
Not getting stabbed.
well, I know that, and this actually goes back to our first conversation about government programs. Is I was just reading about little things like apparently there's a government number you can call or text when you get in a taxi, or a QR code or something, and it just sends the information of the time, the taxi number
That's
to
really
like just so it's just known, like they know which taxi you got into.
Oh.
Little things like that are just like, oh, that's a great program.
Even without that, they would know. Like they track us.
Yeah.
all the time.
But it's like you're putting your hand up to be like, please pay attention to my trip right now because like I'm getting in a taxi.
Yeah.
And then there are the little call buttons around where it's like if you don't feel safe, you
Yeah.
press a button. There's like certain actually this is an interesting one. Did you know there's certain convenience stores that are designated as like a safe zone in each neighborhood? So if you are not feeling safe, like a woman being followed
I've
home,
seen
you can
them,
go to the
yeah,
convenience store
yeah.
and that convenience store knows that we're a safe zone, so they'll lock the door and like call the police for you.
Yeah, that's really cool.
And then I just learned this because we moved into an apartment. Some apartment buildings, the double doors in the front, there's a like reflective panel in the middle.
Right.
That is so someone can see as they're walking up to the building if someone's behind them following.
All right, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, there's like little things like that,
Yeah,
and
it's
like
really smart.
it's funny that they have all these things in place in a country where there's so little crime, and then you go to like the U.S. where it's like the Thunderdome, and there's like none of these things in place. It's just like carry a gun and fend for yourself. Where here it's like
for all.
here it's like someone was made uncomfortable by someone following them, so we're gonna put all these measures in place to make people feel safer. And America's like, oh, you got shot going to the grocery store. This is the cost of doing business. I'm sorry.
Some places can be already a lost cause. It's really hard to get it back to normality. So I think Korea's doing the right thing. Try and like, if the,
Stamp it before it gets
yeah.
serious.
So no,
Yeah.
it's good.
The drinking culture, I think, it's hard to explain if you haven't been here and drank in Korea. Like if you come from a Western context where you've never been here, it's almost hard to understand. Like when we talk about binging or stuff, like how different it is.
Right. There's no better feeling than if you go with your mates to like a barbecue restaurant, having like cooking your own meat, having like some soju's,
Oh,
beers. It is like the best atmosphere. You can't beat it. Like
you linger for hours over the grill, watching people walk by.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, a lot of there is pubs and bars, but the majority of drinking here is done in like restaurants or that type of stuff. Like you have got your clubs and everything, but they're mainly for younger people. We don't. Us old kids don't go there anymore, really. Yeah, but
this is a cost even. Like to go to a barbecue place, like Korean barbecue in the West, or a barbecue place, and to sit eating tons of meat and drinking for 3 hours. You'd be looking at hundreds per person,
right.
and here you're walking out at maybe 40,000, 50,000 won a person for 3 hours of drinking. It's nice.
Yeah.
And actually, that kind of atmosphere is why I really like soju, because for people who don't know, soju is about 15 to 19% depending on the brand and the flavor. So you take shots, so you have that kind of culture of cheersing a shot and taking it, but you're not taking. It's only 19%. So you can cheers and shoot constantly.
Yeah, but it's weird. Soju is weird. Like I feel like if I was doing like shots of red wine, which is like almost the same.
Exactly.
I can do shots of like an entire like bottle of wine, which is like maybe the equivalent of 2 bottles of soju.
But come on, wine's being like it comes from the grape, it's aged, you know what I mean? It's got a sophisticated process. God knows where soju comes from, man. You know what I mean?
Well, I have my interesting fact is about that actually.
Okay.
A little fact. But I mean about how drunk you get, right? It's the same.
Yeah, you get super drunk.
Yeah,
it catches up with you. It's dangerous.
It's deceptive because when you drink it, you think that's fine, but every shot you take, it gets a little bit worse. And like by the time you've on whatever shot, it starts really burning like a vodka or something, like, and then you're done. You're black out.
There is some interesting things with like kind of Korean alcohol and stuff. I was just again that show I mentioned last time on Netflix about Korean alcohol. They showcased that there are a lot of traditional Korean liquors outside of soju, right? Like other liquors, and there's a theme, like a trend right now with some bars opening up to make cocktails, like actual nice cocktails,
Soju
out of
cocktails.
not soju even, out of like the traditional liquors, which I think would be great for Korea as like a just part of the culture to develop your own unique history and brands and like of other alcohols. I think now it's just green bottle soju, and there's not that like I want to have a nice cocktail. It's a Western cocktail, and it'd be really great to have that kind of like different herbs and stuff and have them matched with different mixers and make some really interesting cocktails. That's a kind of a missing.
I think for
piece.
young people, but the old typical of Josh is not going to be going for that.
That's the
Give me
same.
my green bottle.
That's the same even in the U.S., right? You get the typical old guy, old American who's like, I just want my Budweiser and my shot of Jack Daniels. You know, it's the same sort of thing, I think.
I was thinking about like creating a soju-based cocktail here in the
Yeah.
bar,
Yeah.
but I haven't get the chance yet to try. But yeah, it might be interesting. It might be like a good like advertisement. You know, like come and try that. You know, I don't see many soju
No.
based
Yeah,
cocktail
yeah.
beside the tonic water and like what do you
Yeah.
call it, the halasan
Yeah.
halatonic. You know, the
Yeah,
halasan
yeah.
soju with
Yeah.
tonic. Beside that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I think honestly, this is kind of probably just the opening discussion on Korean drinking culture. I think there's so many sub segments and stuff to talk
Yeah,
about in the
definitely.
future that we can dive into. But it's
Yeah.
like, I think it's just so different. Like the experience, the way alcohol is treated in life is so different than in the West that like you can break it out into work drinking, social drinking. Like there's just so many aspects that are very different.
I think we'll have to have like a whole video about like talking about some of the drunk experiences with Badia. You know, there's been because you know.
I don't know. No.
I think while we're drinking, we'll have to go back to midnight and get drunk, and then just all the stories come out because there's been some funny events over the last few years.
I think actually though that's true. Some of those stories will be the best way to shed a light on how the drinking culture is different. Like certain things that it's like if you had done that or if that had happened in the West, it would have been a just completely different night. Where it's like here it was. I had that somewhere. It's like I don't know. There's bouncers stuff. It's just somewhere more casual. Where in the U.S. it's just like really people fight and stuff. It's just, they're so strict about everything. I remember
being in jail for the night.
Yeah, or like getting kicked out of places, or like in the U.S. it's very much like intense. We're here, it's like, oh, you're not being violent, you're not being awful, you're just kind of having fun, and you're kind of within like, okay, like they're pretty cool about it at most places. Where in the U.S. it's kind of like almost combative sometimes between the bartender, the bouncers, and the people in the bar. Like they almost don't want you to be there. Like, oh, you're drunk here, like get out. And it's like I'm here to get drunk. Like that's the point. And it's like
give me my tip and then go.
I had a friend back in America. He said he was at a bar in New York, right? And they bounced him, and he's like, "Why am I getting kicked out?" They're like, "Oh, you're drunk." He's like, "It's a bar." And they're like, "Yeah, you're too drunk though." And it's like this idea that like we all have to pretend to not be drunk kind of in the bar, otherwise we get kicked out.
Yeah.
Like
it was the same when we were in Australia. Like they're really strict as well. Like Australians love to drink, but I couldn't believe it when we were in Sydney. Like my mate just kept getting kicked out of everywhere. I couldn't believe he literally go in and like 20 minutes later he was kicked out. They're so strict.
Even things like sleeping. Like in America, it's like if you like. You can't like sleep in a bar, which is that obvious, but you can't like lean on the wall and kind of just like rest for a little bit.
A lot of people sleep in bars in Korea.
Yeah, in Korea it's like you're out for the night at a table with your friends, and one person just like is taking a nap for 20 minutes. They're fine with it. Like they don't mind. Like you're at a table, the other people are buying stuff still. What do they care? They're being quiet. But in America, it's like if you at all like lean down, just like oh you're drunk, you're sleeping out.
I've seen a woman like recently. Actually, she was like she's keep like throwing up on herself in the restaurant. And
Dude, I've had that.
Okay, that's pretty brutal.
I've had that in my bar. Someone threw up on themselves, and I was just like, I wanted to throw them out the window. I was just like,
I don't condone that.